I believe it is theoretically possible to predict the future. It may not be a skill that you and I possess in a general sense, but in a controlled environment, prediction can manifest. The scientific method is a paramount tool used to understand the world around us. In its actual practice, it's more like a cyclical wheel rather than a flowchart with a start and end. The way that we were introduced to it in third grade, however, is pretty simple. You go through question, hypothesis, experiment, data, and conclusion. A good scientist is able to control for variables and uses control groups free of outside influence to bolster the conclusion. What I find interesting is when the hypothesis and the conclusion match. In a small way, the future was predicted. The philosophical concept of determinism indicates that all events, including human action, are ultimately determined by causes external to the will. By extension, the origin of thoughts is also unwillful. Essentially, you can't think a thought before you think it. So, whatever one's brain begins to imagine seems to come out of nowhere. Some religions espouse that free will is inherent to human beings, but this is contradictory when you imagine the powers that God must possess. According to the book of Psalms, God is omniscient or all-knowing. O Lord, you have searched me and know me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. What a beautiful passage. That excerpt demonstrates two things. Taken literally, you can interpret this to mean that God is all-knowing, at least when it comes to the thoughts, actions, habits, and intentions of his children. Secondly, this passage implies that free will is an illusion. After all, God created this man and understands everything he will ever do from the word go. It seems like God simply creates us to live a predetermined life. From my understanding, God is a scientist in absolute control. He has observed every variable in his experiment and knows exactly what will happen all around the universe in each following moment. He knows how and when his experiment will end. In conclusion, if our thoughts, actions, habits, and intentions can be traced to prior causes and external forces, then any person with omniscience could truly predict the future. Obviously, nobody possesses true omniscience, but seeking to understand the role of external forces when it comes to humans' thoughts and actions can hone our knowledge and, in turn, make us more effective fortune tellers.